Warning: this podcast features adult subject matter, adult language, and things not meant for children to hear. Viewer discretion is advised. You've been warned. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the newest episode of the I'm No Joe podcast, the place where every armchair quarterback can feel like an Eddie Bravo. So today, as per the use, like the kids say, I have got the band back together. We've got a trio of trouble ready to break down this weekend's shenanigans for you. First off, rolling around the room here, the young gunner, the up-and-comer, the stunner. RJ, how you doing, brother?
Doing good, man. The usual. Gonna get in this shit tonight.
Hell yeah. Thank you for being here. Appreciate your opinion, brother. Right on down the panel from him, my vaping vlog Wednesday night brother here. How you doing, Golf T?
Fucking fired up after missing last week. Let's do some shit. Ready to talk some shit.
Hell yes. Appreciate you being here as well. So, as we do around here, the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to jump into the recent events and news and recent events segment, the goings-on that have happened since the last time we shot an episode for you fine folks. So the first thing we're going to talk about real quick, we got honey-dicked. We all got honey-dicked this week, and it was such bittersweet news to find out that it was a honey-dick because there were tweets going back and forth from Jon Jones and Stipe Miocic talking about a fight between the two of them, possibly during July for International Fight Week at heavyweight. And then yesterday afternoon, we got a trio of fight announcements that kind of drove home the insult to injury that was that honey dick. And we got first, for the women's 135 belt, announced Amanda Nunez will be fighting Holly Holm. Then for the men's newly vacated belt, thanks to TJ, we will be seeing officially Marlon Moraes versus Henry Cejudo. And then the nail in the coffin, we found out that it will officially be Jon Jones versus Thiago Santos for the 205 belt, not Big John versus Stipe for the heavyweight contender status, I guess would be the appropriate word. And that's not to say that that's still not going to be three interesting fights, but that's not the fight that we thought was going to happen. And I don't think I'm not saying it's bad that Santos is getting his shot at the 205 belt because the dude has legitimately put on some highlight reel finishes. But at the same time, I feel like this is another Anthony Smith situation, which is ironic with their history. But I feel like this is a dude who just isn't on the level. Yes, he's got some good finishes, but they're not against Jon Jones caliber opponents. And I think he's coming into this one a little bit high on his own fumes. And I don't see this going well for Santos. But if that's what it takes before we get up to Jones going to heavyweight, then, I'm okay with that because Jon has really cleaned out 205. If it takes showing Santos that he's not there yet either to give him a little time to go to heavyweight, so be it. But, boy, Jon versus Stipe at heavyweight, which would mean that Jon's bulking back up again. And we've seen when he gets to powerlifting during his time off, he can become a large cut fella. And as his adversary himself said, the power transfer going from 205 to fighting at heavyweight is immense. Look at what the difference that could make in Jon's game to carry that same fight IQ, that same style, but more power up to a 250-ish range, because I don't think Jon would go full 265. I think he would bulk up to about 250 again. And that would be scary as shit because that's when we saw Jon powerlifting like 800 on the fucking leg presses and looking like a demon. And if you think the head kick that DC caught at 205 was hard, think about the head kick that DC could catch at 250 doing those 800-pound fucking leg presses. Woo, there's still potential here. There's still potential. But moving along from that set of announcements, we have coming up this Friday night, we record on Thursday, so tomorrow night, we will have the Bellator 219 event. And there are several good fights on that card. and two in particular that, if nothing else, I encourage folks listening to this to watch for, because I'm going to try and get this up tomorrow before their card starts. And one is the man you can't stop crazy himself, Joe fucking Schilling. Stitch him up is getting in the fucking MMA ring again tomorrow. That is going to be a fucking bang-up war. The other one is one of the possibly greatest MMA comeback stories you will ever fucking hear, and that is Daniel Straus. Now, for those who don't know, Daniel Straus was in a motorcycle accident. I believe it was 2 years ago now, 18 months ago now. They just did a piece on him on ESPN this afternoon, talking about how he literally was out riding with a friend. He was on his way home, and someone clipped him from the side, and the next thing he knew, he woke up under the guardrail. His bike was completely smashed across the road. He couldn't move, and the car that hit him was gone, and he was just laying on the side of the highway, unable to physically move. The doctors told him he would never walk again. He said, fuck that. Neck brace and all, went right back to doing his own physical therapy, strengthening his own muscles, getting himself back into shape, committed himself to getting back to fighting despite what the doctors told him, and has now done a couple of high-level combat grappling jiu-jitsu tournaments, and is back in the fucking octagon. And holy shit, does this dude look better than he ever did. And he was the belt holder in Bellator for a while before his accident. So this is what is essentially going to be known as the rebirth of the career of Daniel Straus, and he is on a mission to show the world that he is coming back better than he ever was before. And holy shit, if even a fraction of that is true, you better fucking look out in that division, because that man was a dangerous, dangerous fighter before all this. And with the hunger and the time that he has had to hone himself now, that gentleman is going to tear shit up. I am quite confident. So moving along from that one, the next thing I want to take a moment to talk about real quick here is, during this last week between shows here, the UFC officially announced its second quarter dates and locations. The top ones that I'm going to talk about are just the international ones. There are several here stateside, but there are some big ones internationally that I want to talk about real quick. The first of them is going to be the show on April 20th in Russia. First UFC event live from Russia. There's some potential there. We will definitely have to see how that one unfolds. Next one I want to talk about real quick. They are going back to Ottawa on May 4th. After that, the next week, which is going to really fuck up anybody who wanted to see both events, they are going down to Rio for May 11th. So that's definitely going to fuck up some fight camps if you want to stay with your buddy. And then 2 weeks or 3 weeks after that, June 1st, we will be in Stockholm, Sweden. So there is a very large smattering of international events, as well as a bunch of domestic events coming up for UFC in the second quarter. They are all available on UFC.com for you to see under the events section here. Just wanted to mention a few of the big ones, though. Next little thing I want to talk about real quick for those who may not know. It's not been officially announced yet that she is officially retired from fighting, but all signs kind of looked that way more recently as her healing from her surgeries and whatnot have been going on. But we're talking about Paige Van Zant. She has officially been announced as by the UFC as the lead color commentator for the M1 fight branch of the UFC's wing. She will be doing full color commentary for all of their events. Congrats to her. She is a good color commentator for those fights. I've seen a couple of them, but I don't know how she's going to do commentating and fight camp and fighting and the regular UFC reporting that she already does. That's a lot on a plate for a girl, for anybody really. So I kind of think this might be her way to slide out the door fighting and stay in front of the camera and stay relevant. And, if that's the case, props, hats off to her. Get that money, girl. But I just think that's going to make it a little difficult to do fight camps and fights and color comment or lead color commentate for every event that the M1s do, plus the UFC shit that she already does. It's just, We'll see. But the last little piece of news that we cannot finish this episode without talking about, in my opinion, one of the biggest, yet not really biggest, and definitely strangest things that happened during this last week since the last episode that we shot here. One Mystic Mac Conor, Notorious McGregor himself, officially retired from the sport formerly known as mixed martial arts. He did wish all of his former colleagues the best in their journey forward and said that the first round of proper 12 pina coladas are on him. Ironically enough, which was responded to immediately by Ronda Rousey, saying the second round of proper 12 pina coladas would be on her, and they were going to make it a celebration of careers. And it's, on one hand, if this is legit, I get it. There's a lot going on in Conor's life right now between the Miami incident and now a thing that's possibly going on in Ireland, plus him constantly fighting with the UFC to get actual shares in the company rather than just pay-per-view dollars, which they've constantly been heading him off in the past with. You know, him obviously having more than enough money to never have to fight again if he doesn't want to begin with. Plus, he's got the whiskey that's going fucking crazy. Plus, he's got the suit line that's getting ready to drop that everybody and their fucking brother is going to want a fuck you pinstripe suit. So it's not like he doesn't have money making venues lined up. So if he doesn't want to fight anymore, which, you know, how long you want to get punched in the face until you're rich? I don't blame you. But those of us who've been watching Conor for a long time have a strong inclination that, one, Conor's not going to want to go out on a loss. And that was an embarrassing loss that he would be going out on. And that's typically not his style. But two, just the showman that McGregor is, win or lose, a tweet in the middle of Monday night while he's being shown on Jimmy Fallon talking about trying to schedule a fight for July isn't really Conor's style. So on one hand, there absolutely is a 100% chance that this is legit and he's just at the point where he has zero fucks left to get. And he tweeted it as he was laughing, having a drink. And it was done. He's moving on. He's got other shit going. On the other hand, it really, 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 to a lot of us, looks strongly like he is trying to bring a stronger public image into his negotiation tactics for the Nate Diaz 3 fight, which is the reason that this apparently came about. The UFC said they had no interest in Conor Diaz 3. Conor said if they weren't going to give him Khabib as a rematch, then he wants Conor Diaz 3, and the UFC said no. And he said, well, then I'm good. You boys have a good one. This is either a great public negotiating tactic because now everyone will be on Conor's side 100% pretty much, or this is Conor just done playing the fucking game with UFC, and we all know that he will get offers if he ever decides he wants to pick those back up for any organization, whether he has to break the UFC contract or get in the UFC octagon and then headline a fucking card whenever that may be. But this is definitely something we're going to have to keep an eye on as the future unfolds in the UFC, because they are absolutely, like Dana keeps saying, they are making big moves. They are doing big things. There is a lot going on in the UFC right now.
I got to step in on this one.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the first thought that popped into my head. This same thing Conor used before to use as a negotiation tool. And so I'm almost positive that that is the case. He's using this as a negotiation leverage, whether it's to get public opinion on his side or not. He's played this card before. But on the same side of it, it's not about a fucking money thing for him. The guy likes to fight. Nobody gets into the fight business because they think they're going to get rich. Your chances of making it to the fucking bigs and getting rich the same way Conor did, going from fucking plumber to multi-millionaire with all these other fucking deals going on, are slim to absolute fucking none.
Yep.
He's a fucking fighter. That's the kind of person he is. So to be honest, I'm almost 100% positive that this is, I'm going to go ahead and wave the bullshit flag on it, because it's it's bullshit. Dude, have your fun, fuck with people, do your thing. I don't think that tweet had anything to do with what's going on in Miami or the shit that allegedly took place months and months ago in Ireland, or said suspect was released without any further ado. And it just came to light because, oh, he put something out, and now we need to throw some shit at the wall and see if it sticks. And, of course, it picks up and sticks in the U.S. And what's really funny about that is that news article that came out in the U.S. named him. By Ireland's law, they're not allowed to name suspects. So there's no saying who said MMA fighter was, let alone if it was Conor fucking McGregor.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. He's had a wild side. We all know that. We've seen some of the wild shit that goes on. But I can't say that it was him because, yeah, exactly. But you can't say that it was him because with their laws in place, they never released a name on who said suspect was. So who's to say it's not one of his fucking training partners?
That's very true. That's very true, which would create a whole separate issue from even the allegations, which, if that is the case, have already been dealt with and disputed or whatever they call it.
And so whatever it was that was happened there, that shit's already been fucking washed away. So I doubt it has anything to do with that. I think it was he just fucking with everybody to try to use it as a bargaining tool, since there's no fighters union to bitch and complain to.
Right.
And to be honest, whether or not it was because he wants a Diaz rematch or fucking Khabib or whoever the fuck he wants, the dude's name is a big enough draw. The UFC would be stupid not to do a Diaz 3 fight with him because they know the fucking numbers it pulled on the second one and the first one. It was fucking massive.
And Conor even said in some event that he was doing last week, I think he was in like Minnesota, like at a mall doing a fucking like spiel for Proper 12 and shit. And somebody asked him, like, what's the deal with Diaz 3? Is there any possibility? And he said, I'm talking to the UFC about it right now. They're playing hard to get, but I told them I'd even be willing to be a co-main event if that's what it took.
Well, and if you look, even when, let's just say, for example, on Monday, the Jimmy Fallon thing that came up, he said there are a lot of fights on the table. He didn't specifically say which one. So, of course, he's pretty much got his pick of the litter at this point of what the fuck do I want to do? Namely, one, because of who he is, how big his star is, regardless of the stupid shit he pulls, people still want to watch him fight.
Yeah.
Whether they know he's going to get his ass ridden and dry humped for days, or if he's going to go out there and bang with the Diaz. People are going to watch it. So I think it's just a bargaining tool. And if he hasn't said any fucking thing to Dana, it's bullshit. Right. And Dana said he hasn't even talked to him about it. So you know what? I'm waving the bullshit flag all over this one. Conor, if you are retiring, my hat's off to you for doing all the right things and getting your life set. But you're a fucking fighter, dude. Don't lie. You're not in this for the money anymore. You were in the money when you hopped into that fucking boxing ring. Go fucking box. That wasn't a fight for you. That was fucking money. That was a money talks bullshit walk situation. The rest of this, you like MMA. You love MMA. That's what you do. That's why you made it into the UFC. You enjoy talking shit along the way. It's part of the person you are. Besides, I think his fucking ego is too big. And I say ego in the nicest way possible. I don't mean it. Yes, we know he has an ego, but he has to feed that ego in order to make sure people know who he is. Like people don't already know who he is. But
right.
I think it's in his head that he still has something left to prove, so he's going to use this as just a bargaining tool. That's all I'm saying.
I'm inclined to agree. And like I said, as much as if it is legit, it's not like the man hasn't earned it. He definitely put his fucking time in. Like, hats off to you. But at the same time, anybody who has followed Conor for any amount of time, this ain't his style. This is not how he would go out. He wouldn't take the L and walk away, and he wouldn't say it on Twitter and be done. There would be a show of it. There'd be a grand parade or some shit.
Oh, fucking big
waterfall and shit.
Exactly. Him fucking bathing in a bathtub filled with Proper 12 as there's
Right.
fucking paparazzi all around him in the
Yeah.
middle of fucking Times Square or some crazy shit like that.
Right.
It'll be fucking huge when it does happen. It's not going to be a tweet.
I agree. I don't think it's legit. I think it's a ploy. Granted, it's clever because we're fucking talking about it. I've seen every MMA outlet in the fucking world in the last 48 hours, 72 hours has run a story about it. ESPN has had it all over the fucking place. They've got everybody doing their fucking little bit about it. So it did exactly what I think he wanted it to do, and it's got everybody keeping his name in the fucking headlines, despite him having no fight on the horizon right now. The actual talk of him not fighting has made him potentially fighting more possible somehow. Conor fucking McGregor, ladies and gentlemen. But enough of that shit. We're gonna move on from there. That'll bring us to the meat and potatoes of our show this evening. We are talking about the UFC Fight Night Philadelphia coming up this weekend. Barboza versus Gaethje. This is a very, very interesting card. There are a couple of interesting last-minute changes, and there are a couple of don't blink moments on this card as well. So the first one I want to talk about here, we're going to start right at the very tippy motherfucking top of the card, the opening fight on the early prelims here. I am talking about Alex Perez versus Mark De La Rosa. Now, if that name sounds familiar, it's because we just keep getting chances to sing the praises of the De La Rosa family. The husband and wife combination, Montana and Mark, are jiu-jitsu practicing couple. They are both legitimate badasses, and both of them, every time we have seen them in the UFC spotlight, have shined brighter and brighter and have pulled off more and more beautiful maneuvering to get themselves more chances, as here we are again talking about Mark. So Alex Perez is no slouch. The man has earned his way to the UFC just like everyone else has. He's had some ups and downs, but he's on a little bit of a hot streak, so to speak, according to his training camp. He's coming in hotter than ever, they say. But Mark De La Rosa has already shown some beautifully impressive footwork, some incredible jiu-jitsu, and some decent defense. The kid's also got a chin because he's taking a couple of fucking shots when he's getting in there. But I still don't think we have seen the best of Mark De La Rosa yet, and what we've seen so far has been incredibly impressive, legitimately so, called by everybody who's broken these damn fights down, not just us armchair assholes. But in this situation here, I think this is the chance that Mark De La Rosa has been waiting for to really shine. He is opening the entire card up. He's the first guy fighting that everybody gets to see on Saturday night, and I think he's going to take full fucking advantage of it. I think Mark De La Rosa takes this fight.
I'm going to hop right in here. I want to know why this fucking card is not on the main card or even the prelims. What the fuck is the... Look, I think a lot of this has to do with some scratch issues right here, because the UFC wants that scratch from that fucking ESPN Plus, because prelims and the main card are both on ESPN this week, so people don't have to pay for them. If you have access to ESPN, you fucking can watch these fights, except for the early prelims, which there's another fight on the early prelims that I'm trying to figure out what the fuck it's doing there. Put that shit on the main card. There's a couple of fucking things that can be knocked off of even the prelims or the fucking main card to make room for these two fights.
Yep.
Nothing against the fucking Sabina and Marina are fucking coming up on the next fight after this, but this fucking, the way they have this set pisses me off. I just want to get that out of the way there. So back to this Mark De La Rosa Alex Perez fight here. For Mark De La Rosa, this is definitely a time for him to shine and finally get that big fucking breakthrough. Considering what he's been doing has been some fantastic work. However, he's taking a big jump up in fucking competition here from who he has been fighting. So he's going straight into the top 10. He's not starting out with like a number 12 or anything like that, or even a number 10. He's jumping up to a number 7 ranked fucking fighter. He's going to have to do some fucking work. He needs to be all of those impressive things that we've seen already from him. He's going to have to string together in order to get this win. I can see him winning this. I can also see Alex Perez doing some fucking great damage there and putting Mark back a notch there. But I think this one's going to be, in my opinion, it's going to be more of a toss-up. But if Mark lays hands on Alex and gets him on the ground, clinches him up, that fucking fight's over. Because Perez's fucking jiu-jitsu is nowhere near the level that De La Rosa's is. But if it stays standing, I got Perez winning this fight all fucking day. It's going to depend on where the fight ends up. If it ends up on the fucking ground, it's De La Rosa. If it's standing, Perez is taking it.
I could see that as well.
Me and TJ are on the same level. If it stays up, Perez has a really good fucking shot of landing some combos, going in and doing some work. But De La Rosa, he gets anybody on the ground, it's done. It's a fucking wrap on the spot. This is gonna be one of those fights to where they're even all the way across the board, except when it comes down to their age. One has good stand game, one has good ground game. Both of them have the same reach, same height, same weight. Everything's fucking even. Just who's gonna get the better punch or who's gonna get in and get that first takedown. That's what it's gonna come down to.
Right. I absolutely agree. And I think you make a real good point. I think if they come out and they both come to the center and they start a fucking bang out war, I think Perez will definitely have an advantage. On the other hand, De La Rosa has a chin too. He's been clipped a couple times and took it and fucking smiled. So it's not like he's helpless in there, but at the same time, if they come out and Perez is too cautious and De La Rosa grabs a fucking leg or he gets you in a fucking trip situation and he brings you to the mat right away, now he's got that fucking tone set that we can go here any fucking time. And once you get down here, it's a bad time for you. So I agree. You guys both make a very good point here that if it starts out and they're banging in the center of the fucking octagon, I think that Perez definitely will have an advantage, at least in the starting position here. But I don't know. I have faith in De La Rosa. I think he's going to shine here. I think he's going to show us a little more of his ability, a little more of his talent. I think the kid definitely deserves his crack in the top 10. Let's just see if this is too soon or if this is just the right moment to push him up into that spotlight that he could definitely handle, I believe. So the next fight I want to talk about, no offense to Sabina and Mariana, best of luck to both of you here. May the best lady win. I'm not talking about that fight. What I do want to talk about, on the other hand here, is the final fight on the early prelim card, which I initially called was going to be a spectacular fucking fight of one Ray Borg versus the UFC official card debut of one Kyler Phillips, a Ultimate Fighter alumni. Kyler Phillips, in the last 4 days, has been removed from this fight without a word, whisper, or acknowledgement as to why by the UFC, by Kyler Phillips, by his management, or by USADA. I checked all sources over the last couple of days to see if there was a fucking word as to why, because I was excited to see that fucking fight. I like both of those guys. I think it was a great matchup. What we do have, on the other hand, now is Ray Borg, still in the fight, versus Casey Kenny, a Dana White's Tuesday Night Contender Series dual fight winner. But how is this going to play out? Because yes, on one hand, Kenny is an up-and-comer. He's getting a crack at a veteran guy in Ray Borg who is coming up to 135. On the other hand, Ray Borg just spent a whole fucking training camp getting ready for Kyler Phillips, who doesn't really fight anything like Casey Kenny. Not to say, Casey Kenny's fights on the Contender Series, the kid looks legitimately impressive. He's got some talent. He's definitely got, a legitimate chance here, just like anybody would. But this is Ray Borg coming back to try and as he said, start his career fresh after the last time people saw him against DJ. So I don't know. On one hand, I don't want to take anything away from Casey Kenny because he does seem like a hungry young kid, on a tear, trying to make his way up into the UFC's, noticeable region, as it were. On the other hand, Ray Borg, it was nothing to be taken lightly at 125. That, in my opinion, was just an example of how much better Demetrius was than everyone else that they put him against. And Ray Borg, in my opinion, is a fantastic fucking fighter. And now moving up to 135 and having this time off to train, albeit for, glass-infused reasons aside, he's had a lot of time to refocus his game and to retrain himself to be the Ray Borg that we all fell in love with when he first came around. And I think if we even get a fraction of that Ray Borg Saturday night, that 135 better watch the fuck out, because he's heading for the top in a fucking hurry, and he's going to leave a wake of bodies. So my money here goes to Ray Borg. I think the man is on his comeback. He has got more motivation than ever. He has got time to get himself back to what he needs to be. I think Borg is going to come home with the W and launch himself back up at the 135 top.
I think you're right on there. Nothing against Case Kenny, but coming in on short notice to fight Ray Borg, that's not a good look, son. That's not a good look at all. However, Case Kenny has looked mighty impressive coming off that the last couple of fights that he's had. And he does have, of course, a puncher's chance in this, and that's what I'm going to call it, a puncher's chance, because he's going to have to go out there and pray to God that he can knock Borg out, because otherwise Borg is going to fucking just steamroll him. I don't want to take anything away from Kenny, because he's still relatively fresh to the UFC, and don't get me wrong, he's got a good future ahead of him, but sorry, buddy, this ain't your time. Borg is going to come back in there with fucking vengeance, and there's going to be hell to pay at the top of the list. That's all I'm saying. And Borg's going to take this one. I don't think it gets outside of the second round.
Nice.
I don't know, man. As much as I want to say Borg, Kenny is a kid that fights out of my neck of the woods. People don't really know. I can't remember the league that he used to fight for. The kid was a double champ, and before he was a double champ for one league, he was a champion in one league and a champion in another league of a whole nother weight class. So the kid is fucking dangerous. He's got feet like a motherfucker, and he could take a motherfucker to the ground, because I watched him fight a year ago when I first moved up here. People don't – he's coming in fresh off the Contender Series, fucking Tuesday nights. People are sleeping on this kid. They're sleeping on him.
I think the article on the UFC website talking about the fight getting changed around, I think they said the league that he came from most recently where he was champ was PLF, I want to say.
So I know he was PLF, LFA, and then there was another one before that. But he's been in 3 or 4 different leagues and held a double champ in one, and before he got his double champ fight in one, he fought in another and was a champ in that one too.
I agree. Like I said, it's not that I don't think he has a chance. It's just that I feel like Ray Borg is on a mission, man. And with all the shenanigans going on with the possible 125 stay and 125 going, the Savior moving up to 135, and now, having really formidable top contenders in, as much as I hate to fucking say it, Benavidez and Formiga at the top of the fucking 125 stack. You really got to take a close look here, because Borg beat Formiga. So if Formiga and Benavidez are at the top of the stack, how can you, with a victory over Kenny here, how can you count Borg out of the top 3, in my opinion? In the new 135. Granted, I give Moraes top of the stack right now with TJ out of the picture here. Henry can fuck all the way off. I don't even consider him. In my opinion, top 3 in 135 would become Moraes, and then fucking Borg has got to be right there holding the bottom down. It's going to be interesting. That's all I'm saying. It's going to be interesting. So we'll move along from that one. There are, what is it? 1, 2, 3, three fights on the prelim card. No disrespect to Marina and Jessica Aguilar or Enrique Barzola and Kevin Aguilar, but I'm not talking about those fucking fights. The one I am going to talk about here, though, is Desmond Green versus Ross Pearson. Now, for the uninitiated here, Desmond Green was originally a professional athlete in the football world. I don't want to say banished. Banished is the wrong word. Politely asked to leave and escorted out gently through the door would be more appropriate according to their story. But he was found to have cannabis in his system during competition and kind of got a moniker of, being kicked out of the game for smoking weed. Well, he's found his way to MMA, and surprise fucking surprise, the guy who was a former professional athlete learned to fight, and he's a pretty fucking good fighter now. The dude's taking an athletic mindset to the world of fighting, which, as we've seen time and time again, if they stay devoted, lends very well to the MMA world. That ethics and that morality of the training regimen that those professional athletes tend to bring to the world of MMA gets them a highly filled toolbox that is well developed fairly quickly because they're willing to put the time and work in for it. Desmond Green, in my opinion, is a perfect example of just such a case here. While he might not be playing football and smoking blunts anymore, he's in the octagon and stoning fools out. This dude has got fucking potential, and he's got a fucking shot that will put your chin from here to over here if he fucking catches you with it. Now, we've all seen Ross Pearson has that swooping left that highlight reels dudes into fucking la la land. I get it. I get it. But in the real world, Ross Pearson is one of the least consistent fighters might be on the UFC roster. That's not to say, like all fighters, if you're in the UFC, you got some badass in you because you don't get here by accident. This isn't a fucking lottery that you win your way to. You got to earn your way to the UFC, and Ross Pearson has definitely done that. He's put on some great fucking performances. But we have also seen Ross Pearson get abso-fucking-lutely starched by folks that, according to MMA math and stylistic matchups, should have been walk in the park victories, and it turned out to be a Ross Pearson ass whipping. So I guess the best way to put it is I don't have enough faith in Ross Pearson being Ross Pearson to say that I think that he can win this fight. And moreover than that, I think that Desmond Green is getting a chance to really show in getting an opponent like a Ross Pearson who has a notable name that if he can put work in on Ross Pearson and put Ross to sleep or submit Ross, God forbid, that this is really going to push Desmond Green up into the upper echelon of the division and really get the eyes on him that I think the talent that he shows deserves. So in my opinion, for my money here, I'm going Desmond Green. I think Desmond Green beats Ross Pearson. I think early third round, he puts it away.
I'm inclined to agree with you a little bit. And I say a little bit for this reason. It's Ross fucking Pearson. It's going to depend on what fucking Ross decides to show up to fight. Because there was a time, not so many years ago, where Ross was on a constant fucking tear. Just murdering people. And he had a couple spots where he got royally fucked up, and that fucked his whole mentality up. Like, it put that doubt in him. He's getting, what was he fucking, he's 30 something, I think, if I remember correctly. So he's like in the middle, he's like getting towards the middle end of his career now. He's 34. All right, well, he's in a spot right now where it's do or die time now. Because 34, yeah, you're still in I will say relative peak fight years. But those relative peak fight years, you have to be doing well in order to continue to be legitimate at this level, because the young guns that are coming through, they're picking up stuff at such a faster pace, and the game is evolving. So right now, this is going to be a do or die fight for him. I think this is going to be one of those ones where, yeah, you'll stay in the fight pool because of who you are and because of the highlights you have, but you're not going to get many more chances. He needs to walk away with a victory on this one. I can see that booming overhand left coming from him and putting fucking Green on the fucking Mars. But it's all going to depend on which Ross Pearson shows up. Do I think Green's going to have a walk in the park with this one? No fucking way in hell. It's possible that he wins this fight, but I don't think it's going to be I don't think he's going to put him away. I think it's going to be a decision if Green wins. If it goes the other way, it'll be Ross Pearson with the knockout, because God knows his ground game is not there.
Very true. Very true.
Yeah, man, I'm going to have to agree with both of y'all. Desmond Green, liked him playing football. He's a pretty good MMA fighter. If he does win it, it's going to be late third, going down to a decision. It's just, like both of y'all said, Pearson is just too inconsistent. I mean, over the last 3-4 years, he's only won a small handful of fights. A lot of his fights have been called off from cancellations and injuries on his opponents and all that sort of shit. So he's just had a bad few years of just some cards just getting pulled and fucking losing some fights, winning a couple not in super spectacular ways and one or two in really nice ways, but just that consistency isn't there. Like y'all said, it's Green, but he's gonna have to fucking work for it.
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely not going to be a walk in the park. Ross Pearson's never an easy fight. But on the other side of that scale, I really don't think Desmond Green is going to be an easy match for Ross Pearson as well, because Desmond Green's got a decent ground game and Ross Pearson really fucking doesn't. So if we get the same fluky, inconsistent Ross Pearson we've seen the last couple times he's been out there, I think there's a real good chance that the only hope he'll have of winning this is landing one of those fucking sweeping lefts, because I think Desmond Green can pretty much take him wherever the fucking he wants him, and he can handle this. I don't think it's going to be easy, but I think Desmond Green just has him a little better off. But we'll move along from there. That'll take us off the prelims. That's going to bring us to the real meat and potatoes of the meat and potatoes here, the main card. Now, what is there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fights on the main card here. We're not going to talk about all of them. Reason being, Sadiq Youssef versus Shaman Rice is going to be a firecracker of a fight. Both gentlemen are great fucking fighters. Both of them are very explosive. And that match, in my opinion, is just too close to call. They are both so evenly matched stylistically and power-wise, ability-wise, age-wise, reach-wise. They are so fucking similar. I'm not even going to talk about that fight. The next fight on the card here, Paul Craig versus Kennedy Nedzhechchu. I don't know. I'm sorry. That is a fucking horrible name for me to try and pronounce with my mouth. I cannot say that word, and I apologize to you, sir. I couldn't find enough interesting to talk about either one of these gentlemen to warrant properly trying to learn to pronounce that gentleman's name. I apologize.
That's exactly what I was talking about. Fucking early prelims. UFC. Stop fucking the fans or the people you want to get to buy ESPN Plus. Put this shit on the early prelims. Bring the Borg fight up here. Get that shit the fuck out of here. All right, you may continue. I'm sorry.
It's all good. That's exactly what I was just getting ready to say. The reason that I didn't want to talk about this fight is because I cannot find enough interesting fucking material on either side of this octagon battle to warrant breaking this fucking fight down. And I very much agree with TJ here. I do not fucking understand why this fight is on the fucking main card when you have Ray Borg versus Casey Kenny closing out the fucking early prelims. This fight should be on the early prelims, or for fuck's sake, give Ross Pearson, a fucking UFC staple, the shot on the fucking main card and put this fucking pair of nobodies that is filler, if ever there was a goddamn filler fight, on a fucking early card as the crowd fills in. Let them fight for who's already there. Let the guys who have earned their fucking shot, like Ray goddamn Borg or even Ross fucking Pearson, fight on the main card. We don't need fluff when we're this deep into the fucking event. So, the fights we are going to talk about here, the first one I'm going to mention is an ooh shit kind of match, if ever I have seen one in the ladies' side of MMA. We are talking about Karolina Koval versus Michelle the Karate Hottie Waterson. Now, Karolina is coming off of a very devastating knockout loss. And the thunder rolls. The Karate Hottie, on the other hand, is coming off of what has, at least through social media's lens that we have seen, been one of the best training camps of her life. She is looking great. She is in spectacular shape. She is throwing, quite literally throwing people around for her open workouts. So we've seen what Michelle Waterson can do on a tear, and it looks like she is trying to get some momentum to head for the top now. But on the other side of that coin, Karolina, in my opinion, despite having a couple of bumps in the road in her path so far, is still one of the best ladies in the division. Now, is she on a head of steam right now? No. Is she coming off a W with some momentum? No. But I don't think, much like we said previously, I don't think we have seen the best Karolina that she has yet. And I think coming off of such a big loss and getting a chance to fight someone who is being spotlighted by the UFC as much as Michelle Waterson is here, I don't think Karolina is the type of fighter that's going to waste this opportunity. I have confidence in her and her team that they have been training, they have been grinding, they have trying to sharpen that fucking steel back to the razor's edge that she originally had when she made her tear into the UFC. As much as I like Michelle Waterson, and I do think that she is looking spectacular right now, both stylistically and physically, she's in great fucking shape. She's been cutting weight and showing the day-by-day progress. She's doing it healthy. She looks spectacular here, but I have faith in Karolina's comeback here. I think that Karolina is more motivated than ever, and I think if she uses her full toolbox, if she gets the full arsenal out, and she's the well-rounded fighter we have seen her be in the past, I think she is just too much, both physically and ability-wise, for Michelle Waterson to handle. I put my money here on Karolina.
I like where your head's at, but there is an issue here. Karolina got her ass whipped up and down the street. Like, there were people over standing yelling, "You just got knocked the fuck out." That's a hard one to come back from. It's kind of like when you all ever watch Forged in Fire. When those guys fucking overheat a sword or knife or whatever they're making and it fucking cracks. There's no fixing it. You might be able to give temporary fix on it, put a Band-Aid on a fucking blown off leg. But I don't know that she's going to fix this in one fight, and I don't think this is going to be it. The reason for that is fucking Karate Hottie Michelle Waterson is in there, and one, her training has looked fantastic. Yes, we know she's doing a great job cutting weight. She always does. We don't see a lot of problems with her ever when it comes to that. But I'm coming off that last win she had. That last win, she was fucking dominant. And that kind of motivation, that kind of mindset coming off of a win like that, that's hard to break. I don't know that coming off of a loss that Karolina's going to be able to pull this one off. To be honest, I think right now, even with the bag of tools Karolina has, Michelle is going to come in there. She's going to do work, and she's going to walk away with the W on this. Do I think she might finish her on this? Maybe. And I say maybe because after a devastating loss like that, there's no knowing how that chin is going to be until you get in there. And the way that Michelle's striking looked her last fight, sweet baby Jesus. If that shit keeps up, there's a lot of people in trouble. She's been a little bit of a roller coaster herself. I'll give her that. There's been some times where you're going, where the fuck did Michelle Waterson go? But I don't think right now is going to be that time because after that last fight, she's got to be in a fantastic mindset going in there. And I don't think she's going to go in there with the whole I can't lose mentality. But I think she's going to have enough of mentality and enough of a swing coming off that last fight where she's going to be able to at least take this one to decision and win. There's a good possibility, depending on how Karolina came back from that fucking last fight, that she could put her away with a knockout. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not, because Karolina's a tough motherfucker, but we'll see. We shall see. But I'm going to say I think Michelle takes this one purely on the way she looked on the last fight and how she's looking training-wise. It's not that I want to take anything away from Karolina because she's a fantastic fighter. She really is. In fact, the number 6 ranking she has doesn't do her justice. I think she should be ranked a little higher right now.
I agree.
Even coming off of that fucking just annihilation that happened to her, she should still be ranked a little higher than that. But right now, I don't think her mind's going to be right for this after that last fight because that's a really big fucking hump to come over after you've been basically dragged down, beaten, and pulled around like fucking beaten on a dead horse here. But I just don't see her going to have the mind right for this one yet. She might need this fight as possibly another L, as much as I hate to say it, need another L without getting knocked out to go, yeah, I can still do this and get her fucking mind right. But I don't think it's going to be right after that last fight because that last fight, good fucking night. Oh, the W on this one, in my opinion, is going to go to Michelle Waterson. It's going to go to decision, I think. I'd like to say knockout, but I don't think that she's going to be able to pull that off 2 fights in a row.
I can definitely see that. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight either way that it goes, and I absolutely agree with Karolina coming off a big knockout like that. You're always more susceptible to a knockout right after a knockout. That's one of the reasons you'll always hear fighters say that the one thing you got to work on the most is that chin as much as you can with the jaws or size and the things like that to try and help build those chin muscles back up, especially after a knockout when you're naturally more susceptible to it. And in that aspect with Waterson striking, that's absolutely going to be a possibility that Karolina will have to watch out for here.
Yeah, I'm with TJ on this one. Pretty much on the same shit. Michelle Waterson just looked way too good, way too fucking there on her last fight and going in this training camp and coming out of this training camp. She just fucking looked phenomenal. She just looked great. So did Karolina. But Karolina is cocky as fuck, and she pulled off one of those another I'll hurt you things that she did in a fight previous to this, coming off a fucking L, and you're, I don't want to hurt her type thing, which we all know she's done before. You just set yourself up in the fucking greater scheme of things to lose this fight. You just fucked up. So Michelle Waterson all day is going to be like y'all are going with weight third into a decision because Karolina's a tough bitch.
It's all right. If I got to be the only one here to root for the Pollock, then God damn it, we'll stand together. But the next one, moving along from the ladies, we will talk about here is, I'm going to call this possibly the most interesting matchup on the card this weekend here. And I'll tell you why. We're talking about Josh Emmett versus Michael Johnson. Now, both of these gentlemen in their own right have, I guess the best way to put it is they've both made a very big splash in their entry into the UFC. The problem is, if you think about the physics of a splash, yeah, it makes a big event, but what you're actually left with at the end is a big divot. And it feels like both of these gentlemen have come from the peak of their splash and are now cresting that divot point. Neither one of them are really on a hot streak worth speaking about, but at the same time, both of these gentlemen have shown potential way above, I feel, that both of their last performances really demonstrated. Josh Emmett was on a motherfucking tear until he got flatlined. Michael Johnson made some big fucking splashes and then let his mouth write a couple of checks that his ass couldn't cash for him. And he took a couple of dome bounces off the canvas. Maybe he didn't need to if he'd have been a little smarter, in my opinion. That being said, these guys are fighting at 145. This is a fucking featherweight match. And if you have seen either one of these gentlemen before, neither one of them, in my opinion, should be fighting at featherweight. I think both of them look like fucking skeletons on the scale when they stand there at 145. And in 2019, when more and more fighters are just of their own cognizance, going to their natural weight class, or at least moving up a weight class from where they had traditionally fought, because the weight cut is lighter, because it's easier on their body, and because they can perform better, it just kills me to see two guys with the potential that both of these gentlemen have sucking themselves dry to get back down to 145 to fight in a division that both of them clearly will never be able to stay in. In my opinion, this is an example of two very talented gentlemen that are sucking the life out of their fucking bodies to get themselves in an advantage in a weight class they have no fucking business being in, because they'll never have any longevity there. I think that both of these gentlemen, at the very least, should be fighting at 155, if not both of them taking hydration tests to verify that they could fight easily at 170. I have zero doubt that both of these gentlemen could fight at 170 with minimal weight cutting issues here, if any weight cut involved for both of them. That being said, I think in this situation, Michael Johnson, in what he's released in the press this week, has basically spent the time talking about how he's looking to keep climbing towards the top, and he has almost completely, at least verbally, overlooked this fight, in my opinion. Almost every chance he's been given to talk about the challenge that realistically is Josh Emmett standing in front of him, he has talked about how he's looking forward. He's looking past Josh Emmett. He's looking at his next potential matchups already. And then you got the other side of it where Josh Emmett has been laser focused on Michael Johnson. Every time they put a camera in front of him, he says, you know, I know Michael Johnson does this very well, so I've been working on this that'll help negate that. I know Michael Johnson does this very well, so I've been working on sharpening my aspect at this. Josh Emmett has been looking directly at this fight and everything he needs to do to get back on that track that we saw him come out as a fucking terrifying man on his initial debut in the UFC. Whereas Michael Johnson has spent his time just almost lackadaisically looking right past the fight that's very realistically creeping right up on his ass. And in my opinion, Josh Emmett has got the motivation as well as the skill set, even if they are cutting themselves down to 145. I think in this situation here, Josh Emmett is going to take the victory over Michael Johnson.
There's a couple things I agree with wholeheartedly in that. Number one, neither one of those two belong at fucking 145. At a minimum, they need to be at 155. I mean, Mike Johnson came in fighting at 155. That's where he made his splash. I get it. Maybe they both dropped down to 145 because they're scared the 155 division is fucking thick. It's fucking super thick and heavy. I get it. That's hard to make a splash in that division, make some notable things happen. Right now, the 145-pound division, not looking so fucking thick right now, especially not with what's going on, upcoming fights here. So I get it on that side of the house. However, they're burning the fuck out of their bodies on this one. And to be honest, I think it's a poor decision by both the UFC to allow this and the fight commissions who are allowing this to happen as well. They need to do a better job of getting these people to fight at a healthier weight. Look, both of those guys are probably walking around 185, guaranteed. And that's just a unnatural fucking thing to drop down that much weight to go fucking fight. Look, even wrestlers, they don't drop that much fucking weight. I mean, some of them will drop 10, 20 pounds for a fucking wrestling match, but not fucking 30, 40 pounds. You don't see that. Unless they're fighting fucking heavyweight, and that's because the guy walks around at fucking 325 or something. That's a completely different beast because that's a big boy. They can afford to lose a few pounds.
Right.
But when you're sitting at that weight and dropping to 145, you're turning yourself, one, into a twig. Two, you're lessening your gas tank because that takes a lot out of every bit of endurance training you've been doing because your body is starving itself just to cut that weight down. Not to mention the water weight issue. You're going to have no water weight when you go in there. It doesn't matter. You have 24 hours to rehydrate. I get that. You can't rehydrate that much in 24 hours to get yourself back to a peak performance short of doing IVs, which they no longer allow. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Don't get me wrong. I thought it was a great thing for the fighters when they could do it because it didn't, in my opinion, it didn't make or break any fights in any way, shape, or form. If they're just getting a bag of lactated ringers, so fucking be it. But in this case here, it's just a poor choice on both of their parts, their coaches' parts, the UFC, as well as the athletic commission that's allowing them to fight it this way. But to the fight at hand. Michael Johnson definitely being a fucking retard here. I'm going to call it like I see it. Michael Johnson, you are a retard right now. Don't look past any fighter. They're in the UFC for a reason. Not to mention, you're not fucking ranked right now. And guess who is? Josh Emmett. Just saying. Why are you going to look past a ranked opponent when you're not even ranked? Don't get me wrong. You've got the skill set to beat him. I know that. But on the other side of that, every time that you've gone into a fight looking past a fighter, it's happened over and over and over and over again.
Oh, Justin Gaethje.
You get your ass fucking handed to you on a silver platter, then fed with a fucking rusty spoon out of Brock Lesnar's ass. Emmett, Josh Emmett, you're doing the right things, my man. Focus at the task on hand, even though we already know you're going to walk through him on this one. Way to stay laser focused. That's the right thing to do. Fucking eyes on the prize, what's in front of you, then look forward after you're fucking taking the trash out. Because right now, Michael Johnson, you're not the menace. You might be Dennis the Menace right now, and that's about it. Because right now, you're a fucking clown making people laugh. In fact, why don't you wear fucking paint to the octagon, and then we can all get a good kick out of this shit? Because this, I'm looking at future fights. Motherfucker, please, dude. You made a huge splash coming in. You put off some fucking major, fucking, just beautiful fucking fights where you did an amazing job. Then you started looking past people, and you started fucking yourself. It's almost like you're procrastinating with your own career. Apparently, you don't realize that's just like masturbation. It's great till you realize you fucked yourself. And you're doing it over and over again. Apparently, you don't realize this either. If you keep doing the same thing and expecting different results, that makes you fucking crazy. Go get your head checked. This one, Josh Emmett, second round knockout. Good night, Michael Johnson. Put that motherfucker in the fucking, send him off to ONE FC or something where he'll have somebody who fights on his level.
I'm looking at an unconfirmed report that Michael Johnson came into this camp at 189.
Look at that fucking weird guess. Just saying. Round 185, I fucking knew it. Not safe. God damn it. And I'm not even mad at him. I'm more mad at his fucking coaches and everyone else around them for allowing them to do that to themselves. That's fucking 45 pounds. Well, wait a minute, 44. I don't want people to mix numbers here and think I can't math. I can fucking math. I'm saying, we're going to round up to the next whole number there, 145, because that's 189. Yeah, in your fucking trousers with nothing else on, nothing but a goddamn mankini there, guaranteed. You might even have a towel to check that weight because it's just fucking ridiculous. Anyhow, Josh Emmett, do me a favor. Please put him away in such a devastating fashion that the UFC never gives this man a fight again for looking past people, because this is fucking stupid. And I used to like Michael Johnson, but this continuous just looking past people is pissing me off. Stop doing it. There's so many fighters that do, and what happens? They 9 times out of 10 are getting their asses handed to them every fucking time. It's like Sex Panther. Works 90% of the time, 50% of the time. That's what you're fucking getting into right now. Some dumb shit, Michael Johnson. Some dumb shit. And on that note, fucking RJ, have fun with this bullshit.
The Sex Panther thing just fucked me up. Oh shit. Okay, so god damn it, man. The Sex Panther just fucked me up. Josh Emmett, all day, every day. You can run this fight back 50 times. Josh Emmett's gonna win 49 out of that 50. But since you are talking about the whole weight cut thing, so Ohio Athletic Committee over the next 6 months is documenting. Your camp has to document every single fight, like going camp ready of your out of fight weight versus how much you're training, and they want to know your exact training regimen. They want to know your exact diet. They want your your recommended calorie intake. They want to know all that sort of shit. And if two medical doctors, you're doing a danger to your health or to your body, they're either going to force you to go up weight class, down a weight class, or if you don't, you're out of the fucking league. And good luck getting into another league, because that's the Ohio Athletic Committee. If they say you fuck off, you're going to another state. That's in the works. There's been a rumor of that over the last few weeks. That's gonna shake some shit up. So UFC take some fucking notes. That's gonna be interesting, and I don't know how they're gonna go about documentation of 100 and some odd fighters in just our league plus the 19 other leagues that are in the state. I don't know how they're gonna do that, but they fucking figure a way. Good fucking on you. Josh Emmett all day. Michael Johnson, used to love you. Used to love how you fought. You want to guess? You had some fucking killer fights. You want to begin some fucking top dogs of the weight class, but fuck off. Josh Emmett all day.
Tell us how you really feel, RJ. So I think we're pretty much in unanimous agreement on that one here. Michael Johnson just basically seems like he's pissed away the opportunity that the UFC has given him, in my opinion, really. And like I said, both gentlemen realistically made a splash when they first got here, and it just seems like Michael Johnson has stopped giving a shit. Josh Emmett has seemed to embrace the failure that he had and getting fucking KO'd, and has used it as motivation to get himself back on the right track. And I think we're going to see that Saturday night. But that will bring us to the co-main event of the evening. One, David Branch versus Jack Hermanson. Now, I don't know if it's a theme that they accidentally put together some of the biggest shit-talking, fight-overlooking fucking clowns on one card, or if it was just the MMA gods granting us a little, that's for you. But David Branch is a perfect example of what I like to refer to as UFC cannon fodder. Anytime you put a microphone in front of this fucking clown, he will run his mouth and talk shit like he is the baddest dog on the block, like he has beaten everybody who's got a fucking name, and that you better look out for David Branch because he's coming to school your ass and he's going to make a fucking example out of you and yabba fucking yabba. And this loudmouth fucking chihuahua gets in the octagon and gets ragdolled every fucking time. Now, I'm not saying that Jack Hermanson is just a nobody. I'm not saying that they're trying to build up another young star. But what I am saying here is that Jack Hermanson is taking the place of the UFC fans in this situation here, where David Branch is taking the place of that UFC fighter that they just kind of fucking hang around because there's still somebody on the fucking roster, and we don't give a fuck about David Branch. As a fan, as most fans that I have talked to, they either don't even fucking know who David Branch is, or they know exactly who David Branch is, and they don't understand why the fuck the UFC keeps him around either. In my opinion, this is going to be Jack Hermanson's chance to put his fucking hand through this loudmouth bitch's face, shut him up once and for all, use him as a springboard to platform himself into the UFC's limelight, because it's the co-main event, so all eyes are going to be focused at this point. Do your duty, son. Do the job that every UFC fan wants you to do. Hurt this fucking kid. My money is on Jack Hermanson. Fuck David Branch.
Man, it's like they're just fucking speaking to me today. I came in fired up, and the UFC is just giving me all kinds of fucking things to play with. What's ironic in this situation, and there's some great bit of irony here, Jack Hermanson's nickname is the Joker, which really fucking belongs to David Branch, because that dude is a fucking joke. I can't call him even cannon fodder. He is a useless pile of dog shit. How he got the number 11 after his name, I'll never fucking know. He's another one of these guys where he looks past people because I am the best thing since fucking sliced bread. No, motherfucker. The best thing since sliced bread was sliced bread. The worst thing since sliced bread was the fucking butts, the heels. You're the fucking heel of the bread, goddammit. You're the goddamn heel of the bread. You know what people use you for? They use you when they run out of hot dog buns and they need a hot dog bun. Basically, in this case, you're going to be the fucking hot dog bun, because right now, I'm saying old Jack Hermanson is going to come in there like a fucking big old Swedish sausage and just annihilate your fucking ass. You talk too much shit. You don't give people the credit they deserve. That is your biggest fucking flaw. You could be a much greater fighter if you focused on the task at hand. What I really want to know is, does David Branch and Michael Johnson, do they fucking room together? Are they like twinsies? Because they act fucking generically the same. Yeah, they fight in different weight classes, but man, I swear to God, those kids either have the same mother or the same father the way they act, or were brought up in the same fucking household. Maybe they're
MMA BFFs.
Yeah, that's it. Like, oh, we finally found each other. Ah, they're gonna go off and have a little wedding ceremony after this is all said and done on their big losses. Go cry on each other's shoulders, and hopefully both of them will get released. And maybe if they're lucky, I don't even think they'll get picked up by ONE FC. Maybe it'll be some obscure fucking Russian promotion where they get Dagestani wrestle fucked all the time. So that's what both of these cocksuckers deserve. Yeah. David Branch is going to get his ass whipped. He's getting knocked the fuck out. Jack Hermanson's coming in here, doing work for the Swedes. Fucking flying that Swedish flag all day long. In fact, I might have myself plate of Swedish meatballs when that motherfucker rolls around. We're going to have some fun with this fight.
Hell yeah.
So we're pretty much in disagreement that David Branch is worth a piece of shit. I mean, Hermanson, do your job. Fucking put this bitch on his ass. To Senior David over here, you're a fucking bitch. You're worth this piece of shit. You might have a good number on a roster, and you might be 22-5, but you're a worthless motherfucker. Just shut up, retire. Don't put it on social media. Don't pull a Connor and Twitter it, because nobody will give a fuck. It'll get more shares from people who are like, "Hey guys, this worthless piece of shit finally is leaving the UFC." Fucking just fuck off. And as we call it in my fight camp, we call it best fuckboy forever. When you have just two worthless pieces of shits that like are just entwined with each other, call them best fuckboys forever. Hermanson all day, Branch, your piece of shit. Yeah.
And one more. Fuck that guy.
I agree completely. Granted, my picks have been 50-50 lately, but I'm hoping that at least in this scenario, I'm on the 50 good side, because I would love nothing more than to see David Branch put on his fucking ass Saturday night. That would make me giggle profusely. But moving along from that fuckboy, that will bring us to the main event of the evening. The reason that we have UFC Philly is for the display that will be Edson Barboza versus Justin Gaethje. Holy shit, ladies and gentlemen. Don't leave your fucking seat for this fight. This one is going to be a fucking barn burner. Now, this is one that you can't easily pick, oh, it's clearly Gaethje or it's clearly Barboza. This is going to come down to what I'm going to refer to as the battle of the leg kicks. Now, Justin Gaethje, despite being a fantastic wrestler, which he doesn't demonstrate nearly as much as I feel that he should, despite being a great striker, which he loves to show off, despite having a fucking granite chin, which he has shown off in almost every fight he's ever fucking been in, this kid has some of the smoothest / nastiest upper calf, lower knee, back of the leg kick snaps that he works with his boxing so fucking fluidly. It takes people off their guard, because then they don't know what to watch. And by the time they realize that he's doing it regularly, that leg is about 50% utility at best. And you're starting to get some color change, and it's starting to change the way you walk. It's starting to change the way you throw, and it's starting to change your defense, because you can't get as much power or push from that fucking leg anymore. And then he's got a whole fucking bag of tools that he can throw at you while you're trying to figure out what the fuck you're going to do about what he just did to your leg. On the other side of this coin, you have what is potentially one of the deadliest kickers in the UFC. This man is known throughout the MMA world, not just the UFC, for having some of the most dangerous legs in the business. This man can and will kick your spleen into your hip side. He will put your vertebrae in a fucking S shape with his legs. This is Edson fucking Barboza. This man is dangerous. Now, he has had his share of ups and downs. There have been a few people who have seemed to have figured out the puzzle that is Barboza. Also, to be noted, there have been a couple people who have figured out how to barely out gas tank Justin Gaethje, because you don't get him out of there easily. You can hit him with a fucking howitzer and he will giggle and go, come on, let's go right here. We'll keep going. He's just that kind of fucking crazy. That's one of the reasons you gotta love Justin Gaethje. You can't make him quit. You literally have to put him to sleep. He will stand in front of you and let you hit him, waiting for his one good shot until he goes unconscious or a ref stops it. Barboza is a little bit more of a tacticianist, though. He's a little bit more strategic. He's got, I don't want to say less tools than Gaethje, because he is one of the deadliest men in the UFC. He's one of the most well-rounded, but I still feel that even though he may have better jiu-jitsu than Gaethje, I feel like Gaethje's got better wrestling than him. Even though Barboza has great striking, I feel that Gaethje's boxing is going to be a little bit better than that. In my opinion, this fight is realistically going to be based more than anything else around the leg kicks. Barboza is also known for some slamming, bone-crunching fucking leg kicks, whether he's hitting you right in the side of the calf, whether he's catching you right in the side of the knee, or he's smacking your fucking thigh and making you wobble sideways without thinking about it. He's got power in his fucking legs, and his kicks are terrifyingly strong. But Gaethje, being a kicker like he is, knows that and knows how to lean in and how to brace and how to block those kicks. So what I think is going to happen is it's going to come down to who gets the best one off the most often. We know they're both going to be throwing them. Who's going to land that more significant leg kick more often? I anticipate both of them catching a couple, but I feel like in this situation, Gaethje is going to come in and he's going to be the more strategic guy that we know he can be. I feel like Barboza at this point in his career is going to be a little more, we'll say, Tyron Woodley-esque in his last match. It's not that he couldn't do all the things that he wasn't doing. It's that he wasn't, because he was looking for that one big moment. And I feel like the way that Barboza has been fighting lately, as much of a terrifying guy as he is, he's spending too much time looking for that big moment, whereas Gaethje looks at that fight 1 second and one punch at a time from the start to the finish. And he's always watching and he's always adapting. You can't really game plan for Gaethje, in my opinion, because he's so fluid in his abilities. And I think that that is what is going to lead him to the victory this weekend. I think that Justin Gaethje is going to defeat Barboza. I don't think it's going to be a clean sweep. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think both of them are going to take some serious fucking shots. I think that they are both going to have some great moments, but I feel like overall, I think that Justin Gaethje is going to be able to get this done against Edson Barboza, and I think he comes out this weekend with the W.
I'm inclined to agree with you on the leg kick side of things. However, I think what this fight is going to come down to Gaethje for this reason. Anybody who's watching Barboza has seen the fights where he's been really just dominated is when he's been taken down. When he gets taken down, he does not do well. He gasses very quickly, and it saps the life out of him very quickly. Gaethje's a good wrestler, but he rarely fucking uses it. If he's smart and was watching tape, he'll go back to those fights where Barboza lost and see that there was a lot of wrestling going on, a lot of fucking heavy pressure in that sense. If it comes to a stand-up, bang-out brawl, this could be either one of their fucking fights, because they both have some fucking deadly power in either their hands or their legs. Barboza not so much in the hands, but those fucking legs, for his weight class, he is a fucking Miracle Crow Cop of that fucking weight class.
That's a great comparison. That really is. He really, really is like a smaller Mirko Crow Cop. Absolutely.
So for Gaethje, I think the key for him to win this fight is to play the wrestling game. As much as I know he wants to throw leather and kicks with him, be fucking smart fighter. I would not be sad to see him wrestle him. Because you know what? that would be the best route for him. To be honest, I could easily see him just overly definitively taking that fucking fight. Quick, fast, in a hurry with the takedown. Fucking run his gas tank out in the first round, and then second round finish him. However, if it stays standing, I think with the reach that Barboza has, even if he does the Tyron Woodley thing, I think he still wins that fight. I really think this comes down to whether Gaethje's going to use his good wrestling or not. We haven't seen him use it much. Not since he's been on those fucking highlight finishes. Why? Because you know what? Everybody likes a highlight finish. Everybody loves to say, yeah, bitch, I knocked you out. It doesn't matter what fighter you are. And look, I get it. Everybody goes in there with a game plan. But it falls under that whole same Mike Tyson thing. Everybody has a game plan until they get punched in the fucking face. That's just how it works. Hopefully he goes in there with a game plan to wrestle him the first round, wear him out, and then go to work in the second and third rounds. Because I think that will be the big pivotal point if that's the case. If not, those two can throw kicks at each other all fucking day long. And I'm going to say that fucking those kicks of Barboza, if they stay standing, Gaethje's going to go to fucking sleep. And don't get me wrong, fucking Barboza's last fight, he definitely was Tyron Woodley and the shit out of it. That's why he got that fucking amazing fucking flying knee knockout. And it came right at the right fucking time. He jumped through that knee. His fucking name, Dariush was coming in for a fucking takedown. It was perfectly timed. But the kicks and the reach advantage that he has, I think Barboza takes it if they stand. If Gaethje does the right thing and fucking wrestles him the first round, he'll take the fight and he'll finish him. I can't even call a definitive winner, but those are the only two ways that I can possibly see that going.
I absolutely agree. I think if Barboza can, I think Gaethje is going to come in there, from what we know of Gaethje, I think he's going to come in there with a plan to put some fists and some wrestling in and put Barboza on his ass. But if by chance he can't and Barboza can stay standing, I feel like there's a spinning heel kick in Justin Gaethje's future for Saturday night.
You know, that's actually a good point. I forgot to mention, Barboza does have one of the best takedown defenses in all of the UFC. Because he knows,
get him down.
He knows he's not a fucking ground fighter.
Yeah.
But if he can, that's why I said it's going to come down to if he can put him down on the mat. That was one of those points I meant to talk about, but I got fucking sidetracked somewhere in there. Fucking happens. Probably because I'm still pissed off about those butt fuck buddies for life.
Yeah, man, I'm with both of y'all. If it stays standing, Barboza, because he does have a 5 reach advantage. He doesn't have great hands, but he has okay hands, and he's got fucking he seriously has that Mirko Crocap fucking leg status. But Gaethje needs to fucking pull something off, couple combos, stun him, get him on the ground, or just catch him slipping, going in for a kick and fucking take out the other leg, get him down, do something, and then it'd be his fight. On this, you really can't put a definitive winner. It just depends on the way the game plan goes. This is gonna be a good fucking fight, though. Point blank, period. Gonna wait to see some pictures on Instagram with some fucked up looking legs the next day.
Yeah, no shit. So that is our full breakdown for the UFC Philly event coming up this weekend. I hope you enjoyed your time here with us this evening. If you have made it this far into the show, and you are still somehow watching and not screaming at your television, give us a thumbs up. If we made you laugh throughout the course of the evening and you agreed with any of our opinions here, consider giving us a subscribe so we can help grow the show. Fucking words. This car's got me so fucking twisted around. If you agree with everything that we said this evening and we made you giggle the whole fucking way through, maybe even give us a share. Tell your friends about it so we can make this thing bigger than it already is. But we're going to take it around real quick. If the folks just haven't had enough and they need to talk a little more shit, RJ, how can they get a hold of you?
Get a hold of you on Instagram, RJ__vapes. Fucking shoot a DM. Let's do some shit. Talk about fights in the future. Talk about how we're full of shit. Whatever the fuck it is. Let's fucking talk some shit.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for your time, brother. I always appreciate you being here with me. So if the folks just haven't had enough of this and they want to keep after it, how the fuck can these folks get a hold of you to keep it going, TJ?
Wednesday night, YouTube. The name says it right. Somewhere in here. Yep, right there. That's the spot, right there. Call T Vapes on YouTube, 9:30 Central Time. On the Instagrizzles as well. Find me. Come talk shit, please. Need it. In fact, there was one other shit talking point that I did miss because I didn't catch it in the news segment at the beginning. So I don't know if you guys missed this or not. But there is a fight schedule for Ruthless Robbie Lawler coming up with one Mr. Tyron Woodley. So I think what happened there is they're trying to throw him a bone and let him get a piece of old fucking Ben Askren's wrestling buddy there and get a little redemption that way since Ben Askren doesn't want the rematch.
Well, and it gives him a chance to run back. Gives him a chance to run back the match that cost Robbie his belt, because I am still one of a very large group of people who very vocally and very publicly say that that fight was stopped early. I am not disputing the fact that Tyron clipped the shit out of Robbie Lawler. You can watch that fight all day. That is indisputable. He fucking clocked him. But if you have ever seen any fucking Robbie Lawler fight, it takes a hell of a lot more than that to stop him. And Robbie was fighting back when they jumped in and called that a fucking match. So I think this is Robbie's chance to right that fucking wrong here.
And it's coming up, I think, is it July 8th, I think, is when they're running that one, like 2:38 or something?
Something like that, yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, Meter. I saw a pussy and a pit bull fighting, man.
Yeah. You guys know where to find me. Come talk some shit. I'm ready to do this again in the next round. Hey, put me in, fucking coach. Let's close the cage behind us and let's talk some shit.
Hell yeah. Thank you very much for coming, brother. I always appreciate your time here as well. So we're going to call it all for the evening, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, don't let ignorance stop you. You can root for anything. Have a great night, folks.
Everybody was kung fu fighting. Those kids were fast as lightning. In fact, it was a little bit frightening, but they fought with expert timing. They were funky Chinamen from funky Chinatown.